Good evening, everybody. This is Martin John, and we're here to do a late Tao of the Day. For whatever reason, I just decided to do this now. So here I am. Tao of the Day is a show that I do regularly. I've been doing it for a number of years on different social media platforms, probably 12, 15 years, maybe a little less than that. But I started with Twitter. And then I was doing it on Facebook, and here I am now doing this as an interactive way of kind of spreading the news of the Tao. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, and it helps us live a more reasonable life. It's 81 chapters, and so what I do is I invite you to come on up and pick a number between 1 and 81. So this is sort of like an oracle. Like picking an oracle card. You come up, pick a number, and we chat a little bit about what that verse says and what it has to offer you as a change in just a different way of looking at things, as a new perspective. So I'm going to pick number 3 today. There's 81 verses, so you can pick any number between 1 and 81. You don't have to know what it says. We'll go through it together. And we read through it and then break it apart and try and understand it a little bit more. So number 3 is inspiring strong people. Praise the status one can achieve. Pardon me. Let me start over. Praising the status one can achieve will chastise those who don't achieve it. Praising a possession that can be owned will condemn those who don't own it. When nothing arouses competition, people will be at peace. The master leads by not defining status or possession. She weakens the ambition of those around her, which toughens their resolve to be as they are. By individuals releasing their ambition, everything falls into place. So, once again, this is from the Tao Te Ching. This is chapter 3 of the Tao Te Ching, and this is a translation or rendition that I wrote. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. The thing that popped into my head the most is the master leads by not defining status or possessions. She weakens the ambition of those around her, which toughens the resolve to be as they are. That's the section that really kind of shone to me when I was reading this. She weakens the ambition of those around her. Think about that. Think about if you had no ambition that was ignited from those around you. You were just as you were. You could be as you are completely. I like to talk about people living under the influence. I was talking to Julie earlier, and she felt she was living under the influence of this app even, and so she left. And then I was also, talking with people around the idea of like living under the influence of their parents. When you're born, you don't have a choice but live under the influence of your parents. Your parents are your only way of building a frame of reference. You have no frame of reference when you're a child, and so your parents guide you to build a frame of reference. That frame of reference ultimately being that which they think is best for you, or they think is best for everybody. And so you then end up living under their influence. And imagine if, as a child, your parents didn't direct you to be a certain way. Oh, you're too rowdy, or you're too quiet, or you stay in your room too much. Now, of course, we all do need to be encouraged a little bit more. We can be encouraged to get out of our room, but if we're solitary people, getting out of our room can be traumatic. And if we're social people, being told that we're too rowdy can be traumatic. The master leads by not defining status or possession. So the master doesn't care if you have a master's degree or or you're good in school or you're super social. She doesn't She doesn't care about your status. She doesn't care if you have 1 million followers. She doesn't care if you're an influencer. She doesn't care if you're doing anything. She doesn't care about any of those things. She also doesn't care about what you own. She doesn't care if you own a big car, a big house, or anything like that. Imagine if everybody that you surrounded yourself with and everybody that you saw on TV and everybody that you were inundated by didn't ask you to be ambitious. Didn't ask you to go contribute to the consumer world. Contribute, like, so much of the world is asking us to have followers because the people that get our attention are selling ads. And the companies out there want us to do the hard work so they can give us a little bit of money so that when we have followers, we can sell our followers garbage because that's what they're producing. But imagine if we didn't have ambition and we just did what we wanted. We didn't have to make money. Like, sure, okay, money, whatever. But like, it wasn't like we'd be able to have enough. And I bet you have enough right now. You just want more. And you want more because you're ambitious. You want more because the world wants you to be ambitious. The world wants you to have more. You're never going to have enough if you only want more. The master leads by not defining status. So you don't have to go and get some degree or you don't have to own anything special, or possession. You don't have to own anything special. She weakens the ambition of those around her, which toughens their resolve to be as they are. You know, before I came on here, I was just sitting in my rocking chair and sketching. And I don't sketch the same way I used to when I defined myself as an artist and I had ambition of being an artist, or to be an artist, or to continue to hold the identity of an artist. I just put lines down. Are they good? Is it bad? I don't fucking know. I don't care. It's just what I'm doing right now. And then I stood up and I walked in here and started this. And then I decided to read number 3. Weaken the ambition of those around her, which toughens the resolve to be as they are. Okay, I'm going to go through this whole thing now. That's just the section that stuck out to me for whatever reason. We're going to bring up, I only got a glance at the name, but I think it might have been Tamara. Tamara?
Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Good to hear.
Nice. So this is Tao of the Day. We were talking, I don't know how long you've been listening, but are you familiar with what we're doing?
No, I just joined.
Oh, well, good. So Tao of the Day is, do you know the Tao Te Ching? Have you heard of that?
No.
No. Okay, the Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written about 600 BCE. And it consists of 81 chapters.
Okay.
And what I do is kind of like an oracle thing. And I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 81.
Okay.
Any number coming to mind?
67.
67. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to read 67, and then we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. 67 is entitled The 3 Lessons. And we're going to break all this down. So I'm going to read it first. The thing that pops out to you the most is the thing that we'll start talking with, and then we'll start breaking it down line by line, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it is a beautiful idea, but it cannot be achieved. They cannot see it is neither an idea nor something to be achieved. Lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. Tao asks us to live with 3 things: compassion, moderation, and humility. With compassion, you will be able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. With moderation, you will be able to be generous without them needing to prove they are worthy of it. With humility, you know you are going to die like all things. Thus, you treat all things with dignity and respect. Abandoning these will only lead to trouble. What do you think?
It's a lot to digest.
It is. We'll go through it. But what did any word or line pop out at you and is staying with you longer?
There was the part about the solutions. I think it was like
Solution, right.
lost in a.
Lost in a world of endless solutions, they
Mhm.
cannot recognize truth.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. What does that say to you?
I think I want to know more about it
And what does it say to
because,
you?
well, in my profession as a teacher, I'm always looking for solutions. So when
Mm-hmm.
you talked about, you know, it's not finding your truth,
Right.
it's like I want to dig in more to that and understand that more.
All right. Well, let's
But
go
then it
through
leads
this.
into,
Go on.
yep. But then it led into the moderation, and but then I found myself kind of stuck with that.
Yeah, well, that's important. So everything. So the way that I approach all of this and everything really in my life is it is what calls at your heart, right? What is calling you to what is calling to you, right? And so, for whatever reason, this line is calling to you, and maybe it is this solutions and truth. And as a teacher, earlier I was talking about living under the influence, like there is a lot of influence that teachers have over children. I mean, I don't know if you're a teacher of adults or children or whatever, but either way, like um, teachers do hold a lot of influence over children or their pupils or whatnot.
Yes.
So let's start breaking this down a little bit more line by line.
Okay.
So, caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it's a beautiful idea, but it cannot be achieved. Now, Tao, you don't have any familiarity with Tao. This is chapter 67. You're right. Like so. I'll just kind of give you a primer. Tao is like this concept of being the great mother, that which is within each and every one of us, that which is like the void, so the vacuum within each of our cells, consciousness even, right? And what this is saying is like live with compassion, moderation, and humility. And when you're caught in manifestation, does that make sense to you? Is that those three lines, like caught in manifestation, does that mean anything to you, or do you want me to explain that a little bit?
I will want you to explain it a little bit more.
So manifestation is the world around us, right? Our body. And and everything that we see is manifestation. However, Tao or God exists beyond just the body, and this isn't a religious thing. God is just a placeholder for whatever you believe is kind of the energy, the life within us, right? Like we can't find consciousness, and yet consciousness exists, right? Like as far as we can tell. And so, but when we're caught in manifestation, we've lost awe for living. We're no longer in awe of just being alive. We're caught in manifestation. We are stuck in this idea that this physical world is all there is. And it is, and we believe this is when you can become even a victim of other things, right? Like, oh, you did this to me. And it's like, well, I'm having this experience. And this experience is happening for me. But when we're caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Like there is no energy. There's nothing more than this solidity of the world. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I feel like it's like we're caught up in the daily moments in life. And so
Right,
that's when we need to step back and
right.
okay. Yes, I'm getting
Yeah.
it.
So then you're caught. You're caught in this just like, oh, I'm just going from one task to another task, and that's it. And this is what it is.
Hmm.
This is all there is. They cannot see it as neither an idea nor something to be achieved. Like you're living life. Life is happening while you're, you know, complaining about your laundry. Like you're living your life.
Right.
Life is so amazing and like beautiful and full of magic. And yet, oh, I got to do this laundry and I got to wash the floor and I got to, well, but you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know, and then comes this line that kind of caught you. Lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. Now, truth is that you are perfect and you are magic and you are full of energy and amazing perfection. One of the things that I like to say is don't let your definition of the word perfection rob you of yours. So, what this is saying is lost in a world of endless solutions, meaning there's a solution to everything. I mean, how often do we turn to Google to answer things that we already know, just in ourselves? But we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves to have that answer. We can't recognize truth. The truth is that we hold the answers we need, but we're lost in this world of endless solutions. Like, oh, do I want to feel better? Let me download an app so I can feel better. Do I want to whatever it is. Like, there's always a solution out there. Everyone wants to give you a solution.
That's true.
How is that landing for you?
No, it's very true because I mean we have such access to so many things and we can be led one way and then another way just in one question.
Yeah, depending on what link we click, right?
Hmm.
And they cannot recognize truth. And the truth is that the answer is within you. And you know. Like maybe not the answer to your, the test you're going to give on Monday, right? But like we search for so many solutions just to live.
So we're missing that self-reflection
We've
and
yeah.
okay.
I think like so because there are so many solutions, because there's so many books, so much to Google, so many answers, we've lost faith in who we are as individuals. When we talk about living under the influence, like even and we talk about living under the influence of our parents, right? You're born and you're rambunctious, and your parents are like, no, calm down, calm down, calm down. But it's your rambunctiousness that's trying to find something about yourself. And when you're told over and over and over that that's not healthy, or you have, a disorder, or you have, it's like, you're not the bad thing. You know what I mean? Like normal is a thing that we have created. That's one of the solutions. The solution is medicate because you're not like everybody else. And Tamara, please come back up if you want. If you have the time and you would like to continue to discuss this, I'll keep talking about it. But if you'd like to come back up, and you did get dropped out. I have it set for 15 minutes, but my timer is a little funky. So lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. And just like we were talking about, you can't recognize the truth is that you're perfect, and yeah, that doesn't mean you're not going to change, and you're not going to, your actions aren't going to change, or you're not going to do something. But this world of endless solutions, that's the manifestation. And life is more than just manifestation. It's not an idea. It is actually what you're enveloped in at all times. And this is what Tao is. And then it goes into the next line, which is Tao asks us to live with only three things: compassion, moderation, and humility. With compassion, you will be able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. With moderation, you will be able to be generous without them needing to prove they're worthy of it. With humility, you know you are going to die like all things, thus you treat all things with dignity and respect. Abandoning these will only lead to trouble. We can approach every day and say, okay, I want to be as compassionate, as moderate, and and live with as much humility as I can today. Then I'm doing amazing things. And when I notice that I'm not doing those things, right, then because all of those things are within us, we have the ability to not accept an invitation to conflict. I have the ability to not accept the invitation to be upset. A lot of people want to say, like, I have a right to be upset. Yes, you do. You do have a right to be upset that someone else has done something. You do have a right to be upset that someone else has hurt you, or that someone else has cheated you out of something or whatever. Yes, you have a right to be upset. You have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to go after that. But you also have the ability to not accept that invitation, accept that right. In 2014, for those of you who haven't spoken with me or talked to me, I got diagnosed with MS, and since then I've realized how much stress can flare up my symptoms. And if I accept invitations to conflict or to stress, then I am literally putting myself in danger. And so I have had to learn, because of my diagnosis, that you don't have to accept these invitations. You don't have to do this. You don't have to engage in that way. Tamara, I would have loved to have learned a little bit more about you and chatted a little bit more about this line, lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. And I don't know how that resonates with you. I would say take that line, and I will write this out for you. I will take this text and I will put it in a chat with you, so you have it. And hopefully that's not overstepping or anything. And you can read that at your leisure, because the numbers that we choose, like, again, it is Oracle style. So even though I only get to talk to you for like 11 minutes. One of the interesting things is, like, I would usually kind of pry a little bit into your life and be like, so what's going on in your life? Da, 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 and that would maybe uncover some things. The fact that I know that you're a teacher, again, I don't know of what kind, that line is interesting, because, like you said, you're always looking for solutions. I would just kind of say, maybe a new way you can look for solutions is not look outside of yourself for solutions. Like, yes, look outside of yourself for solutions, but maybe take 15 minutes, put the problem in your mind, spell it out, and then take a deep breath and bring your attention into your chest, or just under your chest at your solar plexus. Put your hand there and then breathe deeply into your hand. And be quiet. This is truth. Endless, like, lost in a world of endless solutions, they cannot recognize truth. Truth being, you have the answer. right? So if you're, as a teacher, constantly looking for external solutions, don't forget that you have solutions that have never been written down before. You have solutions that have not been published. You have solutions. And when you're looking for a solution for your child, like Robert, or your student Robert, he needs something other than a solution. And when you're taking that deep breath and when you're breathing on the problem, remember Robert. Hold Robert in your heart with you and be like, what does Robert need? Because you're connected to Robert, right? When we talk about like caught in manifestation, the manifestation shows you you're separate. You're a person, they're a person, and there's no interplay there. Caught in manifestation, some people say Tao is stupid. Others say it is a beautiful idea but cannot be achieved. They cannot see it as neither an idea nor something to be achieved. You have it. You and I are connected tomorrow. Right? And I don't know if what I'm saying is resonating, but my guess is it is to some degree because I know that we're connected. There's no reason. Like, even this app is a part of the endless solution. With or without this app, we are connected. And if we were both to be, meditating at the same time, we'd be able to connect, not in this kind of obvious, instant gratifying way, but there would be a connection, and there is a connection between our consciousness. And in the manifestation, we want to live with these three things, these three lessons: compassion, moderation, and humility. When we talk about compassion, you're able to care for all things without having to ask if they deserve it. How often do we get into that place? Do you deserve my compassion? We live with compassion whether or not they deserve it. That's what makes us compassionate. With moderation, we will be able to be generous because we're not taking everything for ourselves. We're moderate. And it's okay. We have more space. We have more space to care. And we can be generous without having to ask, without needing to prove they are worthy of it. We don't want you to prove to me that you're worthy of my generosity. My generosity comes because I love. My generosity comes because it is part of my gift of Tao. With humility, you know you are going to die like all things. Thus, you treat all things with dignity and respect. That's a tough one for a lot of people because I don't think everybody really can embrace the fact that they're going to die. I think they know it logically, but they don't necessarily embrace it. I got 23 years clean and sober, so I know that I'm, to some degree, living on borrowed time. And I realize dignity and respect to the best of my ability. Of course, if you want dignity that I don't understand or don't know how to express, well, then you want me to do something very special that you're going to call that dignity. Maybe it's like, this is how you're going to dignify me. It's like, well, I don't have to, I know you're going to die, and just like I know I'm going to die, and we're in this boat together. Once again, compassion, moderation, and I'm going to be humble in this situation. You're going to tell me what I need to learn about you, and I'm going to be generous, I'm going to be compassionate, and I'm going to be humble in the face of another being that is going to die. The last line, abandoning these will only lead to trouble. All kinds of trouble. If you abandon your humility, you will be put in your place eventually. If you abandon moderation, you will be run thin. If you abandon compassion. And if all of these things are transactions, and that's what it's talking about here, without having to ask if they deserve, do you deserve my compassion? Right? You prove to me you're worthy of my generosity. These are transactions now. It's not real. Like that's caught in manifestation. The manifestation is full of transactions. I will give you this and you will give me something in return. So many of our relationships are transactional. But when we can love ourselves to the degree that we know we deserve, then we can live with compassion, moderation, and humility. Tamara, thank you so much for joining me and choosing 67. Once again, I'll put this in a chat between you and I, and then you'll have it. That'll be great. If anybody else wants to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81, I would love to have you up. I'm going to go back to number 3, where I was talking about that earlier, inspiring strong people. I'm going to go ahead and read it through again, and then we'll pick up kind of where we left off. Praising the status one can achieve will chastise those who don't achieve it. Praising a possession that can be owned will condemn those who don't own it. When nothing arouses competition, people will be at peace. The master leads by not defining status or possession. She weakens the ambition of those around her, which toughens their resolve to be as they are. By individuals releasing their ambition, everything falls into place. Ambition, living under the influence. You know, Tamara's a teacher, and I know for myself, I went to school in the 80s. I started going to kindergarten, I think probably in 1980. I did not like school because I did not know how to work in school. I didn't know how to be in school. I never understood. And it only is sort of recently, within the last 5-10 years, that I realized that school taught you what was going to be on the test. I didn't recognize that. And now they're doing that more and more, meaning that you need to pass a grade, you need to pass a test, like a standardized test, so that we can judge how we're doing. The children are little, little, what are they called? They're just litmus tests to how you're teaching, or how you're running your school district, or how you're doing whatever, right? And it's tied to money, and it's tied to all these other things, and that's a status, right? You praise the status that can be achieved. That's that first line. Praising the status one can achieve will chastise those who don't achieve it. What does that mean? That means those who cannot achieve that status are going to be chastised. They're going to be put to the outside. They're not going to get funding. They're not going to get, oh, geez. Praising a possession that can be owned will condemn those who don't own it. All these people that, like, if we praise owning a house and now younger people can't afford to own a house, well, what's that doing? It's condemning those kids that can't own homes. When nothing arouses competition, people will be at peace. Imagine if you and I had no competition between us. We weren't competing on how many people to follow. We weren't competing on how much to know. We weren't competing on how much to have. We weren't competing on whose life is better or who's doing what. We just lived the lives that we were living without having to break it up into all of these different aspects. The master leads by not defining status or possession. She weakens the ambition of those around her, which toughens their resolve to be as they are. I love that. I want you to be as you are completely, and I want you to have resolve to do that. I don't want you to be what I want you to be, because then you're not you, and then you're not going to love yourself as much. I always used to say, like, if you're not the coolest person you know, what are you doing? Like, if somebody else is cooler than you, then why do you think they're cool? I remember I was at a party And it was an intellectual party, whatever that means. I was my girlfriend at the time, who was very intellectual. We went to this party, and one of the people that she worked with, who was hosting it, like had a house, and he had all of these, a whole wall full of vinyl records, and he had little vinyl toys, like the statue style toys. Isn't that toys that you play with? They're just like, these little vinyl sort of things. And we were sitting outside and we were talking, and I was talking to someone who was doing her residency as a doctor. And she'd said, man, I wish I was as cool as he is. I was like, whoa, you're a doctor. Do you want to spend 12 hours on a weekend searching through records and buying records and like these vinyl toys? Is that, do you want to spend that much time in a record store? And she was like, no. And I was just like, right, he's not cool, he just has stuff. Kristen Brown's gonna come on, we're gonna chat a little bit. Hey Kristen, how you doing?
Hey, Martin John. I'm just going to start out by saying your giggle makes me giggle.
Well, good.
When you giggle, I giggle. So
I'm glad. It's infectious then. That's what that is.
it's so good. So are we picking numbers? Should I pick a
We
number?
are, yeah, we're picking a number.
All right. How about 10?
10. Authentic action. Oh, is there no title would fit you better.
Well, let's see if I can learn something.
Can you control your mind so it doesn't wander? Can you control your body so it doesn't wander? Can you endorse all that you do? Can you love everyone as to inspire them? Can you do all this without interfering and remain unknown? Can you leave behind knowing and open yourself to understanding? Can you be like Tao and give birth without possessing? Can you be like Tao and act without expecting? Can you be like Tao and lead without dominating? If so, it would be considered great.
Wow. About halfway through, I was like, yes, yes, yes. But can I not let my mind wonder? No. And can I not let my body wander? No. My body wandered today when I just ate some gluten-free coffee cake about 4 times I visited the kitchen. So that was a body wandering.
Yeah. So the next line being, can you
Yeah.
endorse all that you do?
So define endorse, just so we're on the same definition page.
Well, how do you, like, when I say endorse, what do you think of?
Can you back up?
To
Can you
what?
back up what you do?
Yeah, can you, like when we think of an endorsement, right?
Can I give my own testimony?
Yeah, like eating
Yes,
4 pieces of cake. Would you endorse that? Would you say, yes, this is me. This is who I
occasionally.
am?
It's rare, but it is gluten free, so I'm there.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
that.
Yeah. But it's like, like, so I think that is really sort of like what endorses, like, can you stand behind, can you back, like you said, can you
Yeah.
back up everything that you do and say, I'm choosing this. So your body, once again, like that, we start like the first 2 lines, can you control your mind so it doesn't wander? Meaning, and then that first question, can you endorse all that you do? So can you endorse, can you, in terms of your mind and your thoughts, can you endorse your thoughts? Can you endorse your body? Right? Because your mind and your body are just manifestation, and you are Tao. Right?
Yes. And so the way I see this is, it's kind of what you and I talk about a lot on here in various Tao topics is, am I acting from my higher self?
Mm-hmm.
Am I, allowing life force to flow through me and to help me make decisions and those type of things. And I will say for the most part, yes. But I'm still human, so am I 100% great at it? No.
Right.
Yeah, but I do allow myself to wait in stillness sometimes to get the right response to something that might be challenging.
Of course.
Yeah, and I like that I do that because,
Well,
I don't just jump to react anymore.
right. And I think that what this is, because even, not even, but like, I can't endorse all that I do.
Right.
Of course not. Can I control my mind so it doesn't wander? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Can I control my body so it doesn't wander? Sometimes.
Yeah.
So as we go through this, of course we want to say yes. Just like, do you love yourself? Yes. But no. Right? Like, depending on like when you ask somebody that, especially like a client that's like, oh, I love myself. And it's like, well, it's easy to say yes because you can't prove it. Just like it's easy
Mm-hmm.
to say yes to all of these. You can't really prove that you can control your mind so it doesn't wander. You can't prove that you can control your body so it doesn't wander. I wanted to do that. Can you endorse all that you do? Of course, you can say yes because you're hiding everything that you don't endorse.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you ask me that, I say yes, because I know you can't prove that I don't. But this is a meditation. All of these are meditations. And so this is about authentic action. And in authentic action, you have to recognize that you're not perfect. That's humility. Can you love
Yes.
everyone so as to inspire them? This says, can you love everyone? All of these statements are huge. Can you
Mm-hmm.
endorse all that you do? No. Can you love everyone so as to inspire them? Even if they never meet you or talk to you or hear you, can you be inspiring those people? Can you love them as to inspire? It doesn't say, can you love everyone you know so as to inspire them? Can you love everyone so you can inspire them? And that is bigger than I believe humanity can do consciously today, especially in the first world. Can you do all this without interfering and remain unknown? Can you leave behind knowing and open yourself to understanding? These are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Can you be like Tao and give birth without possessing? Can you write a book without putting your name on it? Without advertising it? Without doing any of that? In our world, no. Can you be like Tao and act without expecting? That's not easy. So many of our acts have expectation behind them, and we don't even know them until they rear their ugly head.
Mm-hmm. Until something doesn't happen, and then we go, wait a minute, I had an
Yep,
attachment to this thing.
that's right.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you be like Tao and lead without dominating? If so, it would be considered great. That's how this ends. So simple, and there is nothing more than great. There's nowhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do these things, which they are huge, there is like, this isn't just simple little questions.
Mm-hmm.
These are huge. Each one of these questions is a meditation in and of itself
Mm-hmm.
that you can probably spend years, if not a lifetime, looking at. Can you endorse all that you do? Like all that you do, all your thoughts, can you endorse your sweating? Can you endorse can you like all of it? Can
You
you
know,
be who your body is? Can you be this?
yeah. What I'm hearing is can you put aside control? Can you put aside the ego? Can you just be? Can you just feel? Can you just be in the moment? Like that's what I hear with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the part about understanding, I forgot what it was. Can you understand without something? That's what I seek to do. I really just want to sit in the understanding, because we're all human and we have that capacity, and that has the ability to bring peace instead of war.
And it has the ability, and I mean, I'm not going to, it's weird because war is
Not
there
wars in
too.
the world. I don't mean that.
No, no,
I
no.
mean, but yeah, relationship.
Yeah, but that's a part of it too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you can endorse it, and especially if you can love through that, and you can
Mm-hmm.
not beyond it, but we are even war in relationship, war in the world, that is all still being inspired by Tao, because we need growth. It's resistance is needed to weaken. You know, we have built this world of stuff, and it's going to have to break. And who knows how that needs to happen. I know for me, it came through addiction, and it came through a whole bunch of things that I didn't endorse what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
but when I leave behind knowing, i.e. I know this is bad, right? Versus to understanding, oh, I needed to get there to get here. And
Yes.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. And this is perfect too. I was talking to someone, Tamara, earlier about the
Mm-hmm.
idea that you're perfect. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Don't to not question that. Oh, you dropped out. Come on back up if you wanted to finish up. Yeah, my timer's a little funky, so I always try, and I have it on for 15 minutes, but it only gives everybody 11. So okay, you call your daughter. Love you so much. And yeah, number 10. Number 10 is huge, because it is about are your actions authentic? And I always look at this also as being a space of innocence. It being innocent. What does that mean? I'm not accepting I don't accept that invitation to conflict. I don't accept the invitation to be stressed or to be angry or to, be right. That way I can be innocent. Three, I know the 3 lessons, 67, that was the one Tamara chose. Thank you guys so much. Oh, Greg's take is going to come up, and maybe we'll have Greg pick a number.
How are you, Martin?
Hey, Greg. I'm well. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Kristen was really, really hovering around what I was feeling or seeing or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 words that came to me are just let go. Easy to say, tough to do sometimes, depends on the situation. But I love when, I don't know what number it was, but you talked about, can I endorse what I do? The doing is the endorsing. If I'm doing it, I'm endorsing it. Well, it's subconscious. Fuck that. If I'm doing it, I'm endorsing it. If I'm drinking 12 beers a day, I'm endorsing drinking 12 beers a day. If I'm meditating, I'm endorsing it. Evil endorses what it does by doing it, as well as good endorses what it does by doing it. But then we can get into these layers of, well, am I aware that this is destructive? I don't know. Is eating 3 pounds of cake a day good? Am I endorsing it? It depends on how I feel about myself. But in the end, what it gets down to is, well, if I keep eating this cake, I'll gain all this weight. It's bad for me. Maybe I could become a diabetic. It's all about dying. I want the healthiest body at the very end, right? Does that make sense? It's I'm going to enjoy the cake. I'm not a hedonist. I know things that are physically bad for my body, but if I do them, There's no guilt. I eat the shit out of chocolate throughout the day. It's bad for the teeth if you don't take care of the teeth, and it's bad for the body. But I'm not judging myself. I'm enjoying it because I enjoy it. Is there a price to pay? There's always a price to pay in this 3D world. Well, when will it come? I don't know. But I know there's some things that have a higher price than others. So I'll eat my chocolate and I will endorse it.
Okay.
Great talk, man. I mean, I lived in madness and addiction for years, and I endorsed it. And I think what that means to me is will I defend what I'm doing and thinking? Often, right? Not always, but I can get stuck in something and go and feel the need to defend it. And if I feel the need to defend it, then it means I'm afraid and I'm not really sure who and what I am. Right? Because that core of me doesn't need to be defended. It can't be exposed to anything harmful. Nothing at all. It's just out there doing what it does naturally and thriving without really me having to really put a whole lot of effort into it. I guess that would be organic, maybe. Kind of.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Not bad.
So, do you have a number between 1 and 81?
Oh, let's see. 1 and 81. 69. Year I was born.
Okay. It's funny, I was talking about this today already. An invitation to conflict. In conflict, the master will never host aggression. She would much prefer to be a guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. This allows the host space to exhaust themselves without the master having to weaponize anything. Wanting to control through aggression is foolish. This underestimates conflict and its results. When you choose to conflict with another, you look down on them and lose your 3 lessons. By creating an enemy, you've become an enemy. When 2 forces oppose each other, the one who relinquishes prevails. In this verse, we mention the 3 lessons, and it happens that is mentioned in number 67, which we read earlier, the 3 lessons being compassion, moderation, and humility.
Yeah, I like the part about the conflict. It's always about fear. Conflict with self, conflict with others, conflict with the decisions, conflict with actions, conflict with lack of actions. But I love what you said about the person who relinquishes in a fight or whatever it was. A conflict is the one that wins. It's like there's victory in defeat. It's
Well,
like
is it defeat?
What's that?
Is it defeat?
Well, there's victory in not fighting anymore. There's victory in ceasing the conflict.
You know, it's interesting. This one starts in this way. In conflict, the master will never host aggression. She would much prefer to be a guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. There's something really beautiful and delicious about that.
Yeah, it's like give somebody enough rope to hang themselves, including myself, right? You'll just burn yourself out with all this energy you're just pumping out at, 600 gigawatts a second.
And it's when you start hosting aggression, it feeds itself. The whole idea of pop will eat itself.
Yeah. Last night I had a bit of an itch to open the mic here on this platform. And I said, no, don't do it, because it was like you're not coming from a good space. I was feeling negative, and I've had judgment in my mind about a particular topic that just kind of popped in. I'm like, no, don't open the mic. Mm-hmm. Nothing good's going to come of it. So I didn't.
This continues with this. This allows the host space to exhaust themselves without the master having to weaponize anything. Now, in the Tao Te Ching, we talk a lot about weaponizing words. That's aggression, right? That's hosting aggression. Even if it's just words. And here, words on this app, words can be the weapon.
Yeah.
And then, you weaponize other things. It's like you use words as weapons. You use your tone as a weapon. You use all sorts of things as weapons. And we talk in the Tao all about, the master has no need for weapons. To pick up a weapon of any sort is foolish. Because you're speaking to another human being like you. And like you said, it's about death. When I know that I'm going to die, and I know you are going to die, just like we talked about in 67, the 3 lessons, where it says, with humility you know you are going to die like all things, thus you treat all things with dignity and respect. When you weaponize something, you are not treating that thing that you are that you are not treating that which you are in conflict with respect and dignity.
Yeah. I can't say I can't. I've learned so much just being in the presence of this little dog here that lives with us for the last 12 years. Her name's Gabby. It's just like the simplicity in a good and beautiful way that she doesn't ever really change in her mannerisms, her routine.
Why should she?
Exactly. I mean, it's just so steadfast, and it's really good to see that on a daily basis. It's like it's there. It doesn't change. It just doesn't change. And I talk to her. I don't project, she's thinking like me. No. We just, it's animal versus human, whatever. But I just, to the best of my ability, and sometimes I get a little miffed, and she's a bit of a barker. But in the end, I jokingly say, she loves me if I feed her twice a day. Just a little bit of humor. But my stepdad once said, he didn't say a lot of things that were really kind of like we're talking. He didn't talk like this, but once in a while he would say something. And I was on the couch one day. He was visiting from out of town, and Gabby was in the room, and we were talking about something. And he said, well, just, remember, Greg, she does live in a pretty small world. And it was like, wow, because we forget that, I mean, she's in this house probably 90% of her life. I walk her all the time, and, the air and the birds and the smelling and all that good stuff. And it took me a long while to actually pay attention to what she's actually doing when we go out. She stops and takes time the second we get out the front door to put her head up in the air and to smell the air to find out where she's going to go. And I'm like, okay, left, that's what you smell the best, right, whatever, straight, whatever. It's just so interesting. But I love what you said, that part about when we're in conflict with somebody, we're not respecting the fact that, that they could be afraid of death. They could be afraid of dying. They could be at conflict with that and not at peace with that. And it takes a millisecond for me to just trample on somebody and completely not even take 1 ounce of consideration for what they're thinking, what they're feeling, the context of the moment in their life before I ran into them or came into their presence or whatever. It's so easy to do. It's mind-boggling. 8 billion people, give or take, on the planet. Holy mackerel. And we have more exposure to other human beings now than any time in human history because of the technology. So there's a lot more practice for us to work on this stuff. But there's always that double-edged sword, a whole bunch of it, and we don't see it, right? It gets taken away, then we miss it. So that balance thing seems to come in.
I'm going to just let you know right now that my timer's a little wonky, so I only got 4 seconds left. You're going to get kicked out. You can
Thank you.
If you'd like. Yeah. So the next line is, wanting to control through aggression is foolish and underestimates conflict and its results. Wanting to control through aggression is foolish and underestimates conflict and its results. What do you think that means?
I do know in my life, if I'm talking really loud and I have a bit of nervousness inside of me, it's fear. I'm afraid of something. And I've did that for years. Sometimes it comes out a bit and I can see it. And it's amazing how I can just go to fear so quickly in whatever form it comes out in. It's almost like bam, almost like habit in a way. Like I've heard Kristen share before, occasionally people pleasing will crop up for just a second or two and she catches it and then she's like, okay, I catch myself doing that sometimes. I'm like, you did it again, Greg. Okay, don't beat yourself up. Just be more mindful.
I talk to
be
people.
More mindful.
So, I don't know how much you know about me, but I got 23 years clean and sober. And a big aspect of what I talk to people about, especially when we talk about addiction and things like this, like what I call them pacifiers, right? Your aggression, let's call it, and that fear. The aggression is a pacifier for the fear. You feel fear, and then you get loud, abrasive, or whatever it is that happens. And but you notice that you don't like that you do it. You may like that you do it sometimes because it is part of your identity. It is part of who you are. It's part of how you cope. It's part of how you deal with the world around you. Maybe it was survival techniques that you learned as a child or in military or wherever it is you picked it up. So you picked this up, and this is a part of your identity. And when we start talking about the idea that you don't like that you do it. So you can say, I like doing this because it's a protective mechanism, just like I like an Oreo cookie. Oreo cookies are designed and scientifically proven to be delicious because they're fat and sugar and all of these other things, right? And salt, whatever. So it's an amazing balance of things. So you can't really say, I don't like Oreo cookies because that's scientifically almost impossible. But you cannot like that you're eating them. Big difference, right? Because the reality is you may like this part of your identity because it's protective, because it helps you. But you might not like that you're engaging in.
Yeah.
And this is an addictive thing.
Yeah.
It's not two different things. It's the same thing because because recognizing, just becoming aware of the fact that you don't like that you're doing it. All you need to do is be aware of it. You don't have to stop doing it. You have done it before and you will do it again. It's okay. You're going to get by. However, don't ignore the fact that you don't like that you do it. Just take note. I don't like that I did that. I don't like that I'm doing this. Just like with the Oreo cookie. I don't like that I'm eating this fifth one, but I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like that I'm going to eat this sixth one. I don't like it. And it's okay. I don't like that I'm putting 6 of them in my milk and crushing them with a spoon, but I'm doing it. I don't like that I'm doing it, but here I am doing it. It's okay.
Yep.
Because again, I'm coming out of addiction. So I tell people, look, you're going to do it until you don't, man. You will eventually not do it. But maybe that's not today. Recognize you don't like that you do it and that you are going to do it until you don't.
Yeah, and I think the important part of what you just said is knowing that there's nothing wrong. Like, I'm broken, I'm weak, I have no will. No.
There's nothing with that.
Just what you just said. Recognize that you're doing it. And I don't even do 15 mantras and 60 Hail Marys. I won't do this again. I just go on to the next thing.
Yeah, whatever. And just eat another fucking cookie. Who cares?
That's exactly right. Because I'm not killing anybody. Well, you're killing yourself. That's coming anyway.
Again,
it's coming anyway.
It's too much. That is already too much. Just recognize that you simply don't like that you do it, if that's true. If you like that you're eating the first Oreo, whatever that Oreo turns out to be, fine, eat it. You like that you're eating the second one. Now you're starting to go, oh, you know what? I'm not sure I like this anymore. And I'm not sure I like that I'm doing this anymore. And again, it's that simple little word that you add to I don't like this. I don't like that I'm doing this.
I
like doing it, but I don't
yeah.
like that I'm doing it in this moment.
If,
And
if,
recognizing that, adding that awareness
mm-hmm.
is going to change everything.
If it's a sleeve of, we call it a sleeve where I come from. If it's a sleeve of cookies and for whatever reason I were to eat them all, which I don't normally do that, there wouldn't be any difference in the thought process from cookie 1 to cookie 7. Just eat them and be done with it. Anything that I become aware of and say, okay, you caught yourself. You came out of that. You can improve it next time if you catch it. If you do, if you don't, you don't. I don't really think about the 3D stuff. Like, what did I eat? Now,
well, this isn't about food, man.
Yeah, exactly.
This is about aggression, because
Yep.
what we're talking about here is wanting to control through aggression is foolish, and this is the same thing with wanting to dismiss what I'm doing, because if you want control over anything, you need to host aggression. Because you're going to want something other than you to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, it's about letting go.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about letting go. I remember when I was in treatment in 1990 for alcohol rehab and whatnot in the Navy. This counselor was such a nice man. I didn't understand the depth of what he was saying, but I kind of maybe, more mentally than anything. But it stuck. He said, you have to be willing to give up everything to stay sober. He said, now notice, I didn't say you'll give up everything to stay sober, but you have to be willing to give up everything. And it took time for that to just grow, and it did. It stayed with me, and then eventually I did understand when I got serious enough to get and stay sober that I understood truly what he was saying. But it was nice to look back. It was about 8 years. I think it was 6 years, 90 to 96. And I'm like, that's what he was, Ed was his name. That's what he was talking about. Because I remember living that, like being willing to walk away from the job if that's what it took to stay sober. No car, no whatever. So I was like, okay, I get it. I see what he was saying.
So I want to take what he said and bring that back to this number 69. When two forces oppose each other, the one who relinquishes prevails. You had to relinquish.
Exactly.
Completely.
Yep.
You had to relinquish all that you wanted to control. All the aggression you hosted in the world. You had to be able to relinquish ownership of that before you would prevail. Otherwise, the alcohol was going to win.
Oh, yeah.
And so that is how this kind of comes. Now this is how this one wraps up. When two forces oppose each other, you and alcohol, the one who relinquishes is going to prevail. And it wasn't until Ed came around and said, listen, you got to be willing to give up everything. And that's the thing. We got to listen to these bigger statements. Just like when I was on, number 10 with Kristen Brown, the idea like, can you control these things? Can you endorse all that you do? Yes, you can sit here and say, if I do it, I endorse it. But I don't believe that, because a lot of things that we do, we're ashamed of. And we don't endorse it because we know better.
Well,
and the thing is that we're under the influence of it, sure.
Yeah. So,
and that's fine. And we can act from a place. And I don't want to go back into that, but I wanted to kind of bring that back around, because this is the two forces opposing each other.
Yeah, and the alcohol can't relinquish. It's just a liquid. That's all it is. So the only one that's going to be doing any surrendering is me. Right? You
put anything into a liquid, it will give you space to wear yourself out.
Oh, yeah, because it's not going anywhere.
The thing. It's not, it will relinquish everything. That's why you have to be able to give up everything. You have to be willing to give up everything, because it already does. It by nature does. And until you can meet it, it's going to win.
Every time.
Every time.
Good stuff, man. Thanks for letting me come up.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. What do you guys think? Good talk? I thought so. Thank you so much for joining me today for Tao of the Day. Tao of the Day is something that I do, I don't know. I've been doing it kind of randomly, and then I was doing it daily, and now I'm doing it. I don't know if I did it yesterday. I don't recall. Now I'm doing it in the evening. Usually I do it in the morning. Just to start us off with the Tao Te Ching. This is my rendition of the Tao Te Ching. So if you're interested in this text, you can find it on my website. It is, you can find links in my profile. I'm Martin John. This is Tao of the Day. I'm going to bring up Dr. Robert and see if we can pick another number here.
That was really great, and I want to go with 68.
68. Oh, well, we get 67, 68, and 69 today. How are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing pretty good. We at the stage really added in the book, and getting ready to put it up, so that's where we at.
Oh, good. All right. So the title of this is Do What You Love to Do. Great athletes
Okay.
love to play, not win. Great fighters love to fight, not be angry. Great generals love to strategize, not destroy. Great employers love to employ, not be a boss. Great musicians love to play, not perform. They are not attracted to identities or outcomes. They simply dance with what they love to do. This is in harmony with Tao. What are your thoughts?
It was right down my alley. I can say that because
Yeah.
you want to be friends with somebody, you be nice. You talk respectful. In the same way, you want a good person to work for you, you create affinity with that person, not just be the boss.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's this is such a strong verse because we think great athletes win. But, I always like to think about the idea that some of the greatest athletes never became professional athletes because of whatever happens in life. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the support. They didn't have the money. They didn't have but they loved to play. And, even into their 50s and 60s, they're going out there and doing pickup games and they are great athletes because they love just being in this position. Great fighters love to fight, not be angry. You love your opponent. Without your opponent, you can't fight. It's not about being angry. It's about fighting. It's about boxing. It's about wrestling. It's about doing this thing with your body. And it's like being in love with this body and with this moment. I like this next one. Great generals love to go on.
Okay, to add on to that, yes, when I was at the university, they had limousines, 65 to 70, and I really enjoy working on them cars, and it was cars that I could actually work on it, without these new cars. It's more of a computer than an engine, and
Right.
so yeah, so it was just like I was like in heaven going there fixing them cars, and doing it because it made me happy and to really feel good. Not how much money they was paying me or the cars needed to be fixed. It's something I wanted to do, and it made me.
And that's when we got into grading people, we don't, there is this style of grading that I know exists, but isn't really
Mm-hmm.
widespread. That's pass and not yet. Right? Like, it's like, oh, you just still need, you still need to engage with this. And it's like, it's not that you failed. It's just, you still need more time to play. You need
Yeah,
more time to figure, because I'm telling you, when you get out there and you start working on cars and working on stuff, it's like, it's play, man. Like, this is why, we were moving on to this next line. Great generals love to strategize, not destroy. I mean, generals would love a great general, not these modern day sort of generals that just say, okay, well, let's just destroy everything and kill everybody. No, like, strategize. Like, maybe you can do this without firing a single shot. Maybe you can do
that's
this
right.
without destroying a single thing, because you know your enemy, because they're like you and you don't want to destroy them. We were talking earlier about weaponizing words and stuff. You don't want to do that. You want to be able, no, don't weaponize anything.
That's right. I mean, I just quite a few movies that I've seen people played the captains and generals and stuff of, different heroes and stuff. And they actually really sat down there and strategized and made uh, decisions. Not just go out there and kill them. Let's see, can we turn them, and get them to be on our side, and I mean, it's just some kind of communication. But oh, the easiest things to do is just wipe them out, and it'll be over with.
Right. That way we
No.
don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about like the intricacies of anything. We don't have to worry about the subtleness. Everything needs to be conspicuous. Everything needs to be big. Everything needs to be, it's like all or nothing. It's like, no, like, there's more to life than this. There's more to my life than this. There's more to you than what I'm currently seeing. Great employers love to employ, not be a boss. I mean, how many people, like, if you learned how to manage through, like, after the 80s, you don't know how to employ anybody. You just know how to be a boss. Tell people what to do and how to do it and when you want it done. No, no, no. You're employing them to improve something. And if you allow them to do what they're going to do, you'll get huge return on your investment. But if you just tell them what to do, well, anybody can do that. You're not investing in a person. You're just investing in a task doer for you. Like, you're just your little assistant. It's not even like you're employing an assistant to do what they do best. You want them to do it your way. That's being a boss. That's telling someone how to do their job. And it loses so much, and we've lost so much of ourselves because we have been employers of bosses.
That's right. It's just like I'm being a mechanic, but all you asking me to do is go and get your coffee. So is I'm
Right.
doing so is I'm really doing my job? No, no. And then
Yeah,
he's
see, like, you
complaining.
could have, like, you were a great mechanic because you loved working, you loved the cars, and you
Hmm.
loved that they ran, and like, that's what made you a great mechanic. Now, the world didn't see you as a great mechanic because you couldn't just get on a computer and change the oil. Like, that's all they wanted you to do, because, like, they need to be able to control you. That was what it meant to be a boss, that they can have control over you. But the great employers, the great generals, the great fighters, and the great athletes are not attached to identities or outcomes. They don't care how it ends up. I might lose this fight. I might not be able to fix this car. And that's okay, because they simply dance with what they love to do. You love to do it. It might just be more than you can handle. And that's okay, because you're going to learn, and eventually you'll be able to handle it. That's the not yet. Well, I didn't figure out these dance moves just yet, but I will, because I'm going to come back tomorrow. This is in harmony with Tao.
Yes, no, it was just like a piston in a car. Once it wore down, you got to go and get a new one. You can't fix that. So I
Right.
mean, I can't fix that. I can go and get a new one and put a new one in.
Right.
So it's like that, and gas. Hey, you make it to the gas station, you fill it up, So and once they run out, you can't do nothing about that unless you get to the gas station.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
so
All right. Thank you
and
so much, Dr. Robert.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
beautiful.
Someone
I'm
said
really
one more
glad we
thing.
rounded that out. That was beautiful. And I love this one.
Yeah,
And I don't read this one a lot, so I really appreciate you picking
yes. My father said, always check your oil and your water in your car. The gas gonna take care of itself.
it. That's right.
All right. Talk
All
with
right.
you later.
We will. Oh,
Okay.
thank you guys
Bye
so
bye.
much for joining me. This is Tao of the Day. I'm Martin John. Once again, this is my rendition of the Tao Te Ching, and you can find that on my website through the links here in my profile. I appreciate everybody that came up. Tamara, Kristen Brown, Greg Stake, and Dr. Robert. Oh, we got someone else. Look at this. Oh, Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao's going to join me. I was just signing off, Dr. Rao, so it's getting a little late in the day. How are you,
Yeah,
my friend?
I won't keep you long. I just want to mention about that um, agency and profit that was there. That's why I don't want to be identified. We are
Yeah.
talking, that's why I wanted to tell you what if you took the ancient temples anywhere, they have all this, but they don't have any names there. Who can accredit and what it is, Versus if you go to the modern temples and all that, you get greeted with a plaque of names that we contributed this, we kind of donated this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See that thing? And now, with what I was promoting, the servant leadership is about not about you, about the needs of the others with the corporations.
Yeah,
Companies, and that is really taking a professional role too. There are people who come and advise people about being this way, not the old way of a bossy, egotistical.
right.
That's all I wanted to say, Martin. I don't want to
Oh
keep it.
yeah, no, it's a.
I mean, look at
I'm really, like your role, like your title, whatever that means, like the
yeah.
wellness officer, chief. Like I really resonate with that, and I really appreciate that you promote that as something that is, and just the work you do, just
Mm.
in the world in general. It's like it's
Actually, that's such a relief, because we
yeah,
were not expecting anything, but we're doing the service that we want to do, and then
right.
that itself is giving itself is getting, Martin.
Mm.
Right? You explain something about now, and the person who gets it really has a different dimension there.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah. So not about himself, but about that dimension. That is everything.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good night. We'll talk later. We had
You as
lots to
well.
talk
We will
about.
talk soon.
Hey, bye.
Everybody, I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Martin John, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.